Welcome. In this short guide we'll walk through the primary components of Zero Trust Network Access, key building blocks that secure modern digital environments. Identity and access management is the foundation, robust user authentication and precise authorization. Zero Trust relies on verified identities, role-based access, and centralized identity providers to determine who can access which resources. Device posture checks verify the health of endpoints before granting access, OS version, patch status, configuration, and anti-malware posture. Unhealthy devices can be remediated or quarantined before access is allowed. Least privilege policies minimize risk by granting users only the access they need, time-limited roles, just-in-time permissions, and role segmentation reduce exposure if credentials are compromised. Microsegmentation divides the network into small zones, enforcing isolation policies between workloads. This limits lateral movement and confines breaches to minimal scope. Application-level controls enforce access at the app layer, policies tied to application context, API permissions, and per-service roles ensure fine-grained protections beyond the network. Secure connectors and encrypted tunnels, TLS, IPsec, and secure connectors, protect data in transit and create trusted paths between users, clouds, and services while ensuring policy enforcement end-to-end. A centralized policy engine makes consistent, contextual access decisions and orchestrates enforcement across the environment, providing a single source of truth for policies and automation. Continuous monitoring and analytics ingest telemetry to detect anomalies and threats in real time. Behavioral analytics and alerting enable rapid detection and response to suspicious activity. Multi-factor authentication adds essential second-layer verification while single sign-on streamlines user experience. Combined, they improve security and reduce friction for legitimate users. Comprehensive logging and auditing provide the forensic trail required for incident response and compliance reporting. Retention, tamper protection, and automated reports support governance and regulatory needs. Welcome. In this video we explain the Zero Trust Network Access Controller, the centralized brain that enforces who, what, and how users access resources in a Zero Trust architecture. The ZTNA controller's primary role is to enforce Zero Trust access. It interprets policies, validates identity, and grants least privilege access dynamically based on context. Architecturally, the controller includes the policy engine, session broker, connectors to applications, and telemetry collectors. These components collaborate to evaluate requests and broker access in real time. Controllers host policy repositories. Admins define policies that the controller evaluates against each access request. Once decisions are made, policies and dynamic session parameters are distributed to enforcement points. Identity verification is orchestrated by the controller with IAM integrations and MFA. It validates user identity, device posture, and risk signals before any access is granted. Controllers make real-time access decisions and broker sessions, often generating temporary, least privileged tunnels or connectors so users access only what they need for the session duration. Telemetry, logging, and central visibility are core. The controller collects session telemetry, risk signals, and logs for analytics, detection, and compliance, enabling security teams to investigate and tune policies. Controllers can be deployed in the cloud, on-premises, or as hybrid models. Choice depends on latency, compliance, control requirements, and integration needs. A ZTNA controller integrates closely with IAM, SSO, threat intel, and endpoint posture tools to make richer access decisions and enable seamless user experiences while enforcing security. Operational best practices include centralized policy governance, testing, staged rollouts, and capacity planning. Common challenges are complex integrations, latency tuning, and ensuring comprehensive telemetry coverage. In summary, the ZTNA controller is the policy and decision hub for Zero Trust access. Start with clear policies, integrate identity and telemetry, and scale deployments carefully to maintain security and performance. Welcome. In this video we'll explore the Policy Enforcement Point, or PEP, and how it enforces Zero Trust network access across edge, cloud, and on-prem environments. The PEP can live at the edge, in the cloud, or on-prem. Architecturally, it's the enforcement point closest to traffic flows, gateways at the edge, cloud-native proxies, or on-prem appliances. The PEP enforces decisions provided by the policy decision point over secure channels. The PDP evaluates policies and sends allow/deny decisions, attributes, and session parameters back to the PEP. At the PEP, authentication and session establishment are enforced, credentials or tokens are validated, sessions are created, and continuous trust checks, like posture and telemetry, are performed throughout the session. The PEP implements microsegmentation and traffic flow control by allowing only authorized communication between segments. Traffic is inspected and enforced per policy to limit lateral movement. PEPs make context-aware decisions using telemetry, device posture, location, risk signals, and user context feed into dynamic allow/deny decisions enforced in real time. PEPs integrate with identity providers, device posture engines, and endpoint agents to collect assertions and enforce policy. These integrations ensure identity and device state are verified before and during access. Operationally, deploy PEPs close to workloads, use auto-scaling for variable traffic, centralize logs for auditing, and monitor telemetry for anomalies. Regularly update policy sets and instrument visibility to ensure effective enforcement. Narrator, Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA, shifts security from perimeter gates to identity and device posture, granting access only when trust is continuously verified. In this video we'll explain the roles of agents and connectors, and how they work together to enforce secure, adaptive access. Narrator, agents are lightweight software on endpoints, laptops, phones, or VMs. They provide local control, collect telemetry like process and network state, and enforce device-based policies at the source. Narrator, on the endpoint, agents enforce local deny/allow rules, check running processes, and transmit posture signals, securely and efficiently, back to the policy plane for continuous evaluation. Narrator, connectors broker access to applications and typically sit at the edge, in cloud environments or inside data centers. They act as the bridge between authenticated users and protected resources without exposing the network. Narrator, connectors handle session brokering, manage TLS tunnels, and intermediate traffic so internal apps never require direct inbound access. They also perform session-level controls and logging for auditability. Narrator, authentication begins at the agent, which requests a token from the identity provider via an authentication flow, often SSO with MFA. The connector validates tokens and consults policy to allow or deny sessions. Policy decisions are enforced continuously, not just at login. Narrator, ZTNA supports multiple traffic models, outbound tunnels where agents create outbound connections to connectors, connector-initiated sessions for certain protocols, and fully brokered access where the connector mediates all traffic without exposing apps. Narrator, device posture checks, like OS version, endpoint agent health, running processes, and network context, feed a continuous trust evaluation. Access can adapt in real time, elevate, restrict, or revoke sessions based on posture changes. Narrator, ZTNA integrates tightly with identity providers for SSO and MFA. Identity-driven policy orchestration enables context-aware rules, combining user identity, device posture, and app sensitivity, to make precise access decisions. Narrator, design connectors for scale and resilience, deploy multiple instances across zones, use load balancing and health checks, and automate agent rollouts with phased policies. This ensures performance and failover without user disruption. Narrator, operational excellence requires comprehensive logging, centralized telemetry, and actionable alerts. Correlate agent telemetry, connector session logs, and IDP events to troubleshoot access issues quickly, and apply best practices like staged rollouts and observability dashboards. Narrator, in summary, deploy lightweight agents for continuous posture, place resilient connectors where they best broker access, integrate tightly with identity systems, and monitor continuously. Follow phased rollouts and automation to scale securely. Zero Trust is a journey, agents and connectors are the foundation. Welcome. Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA, is a security model that assumes no user or device should be implicitly trusted. Access is granted based on identity, context, and policy, reducing risk and containing threats. ZTNA rests on three core principles: never trust by default, always verify identity and context before granting access, and apply least privilege so users get only the access they need. A ZTNA architecture combines four key components: the policy engine that evaluates access, enforcement points that gate access, the identity provider that authenticates users, and the controller that orchestrates decisions and telemetry. Identity and access management are foundational. Strong authentication, multi-factor checks, and device posture assessment ensure only trusted users on healthy devices can reach resources. Microsegmentation isolates applications into small zones and enforces least privilege access between them. This limits lateral movement and reduces blast radius when incidents occur. ZTNA relies on continuous monitoring and telemetry. Real-time data drives adaptive access decisions. Policies adjust dynamically based on behavior, risk signals, and device health. ZTNA can be deployed agent-based on endpoints, agentless via browser or broker, delivered from the cloud, or as a hybrid mix. Each model has trade-offs in visibility, control, and operational overhead. Migrate to ZTNA in phases. Start with high-value apps, increase visibility, and reduce risk incrementally. Use pilot programs, strong analytics, and clear rollback plans to keep impact low and confidence high. Zero Trust is a journey, not a product. Start small, measure continuously, and expand controls as you learn. For teams ready to move forward, prioritize identity, visibility, and least privilege access.